welcome to Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show!
Good day and welcome back to this new edition of Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. Today we'll be doing a review on the movie A Kiss That Kills. It's on YouTube and I just recently checked it out. But before we begin, please you know what to do. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content from Sir-Kenneth. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so this movie, A Kiss That Kills, stars Cameroonian actress Cindy Imade. I think it's a Nollywood movie, but it stars a Cameroonian actress as the lead, and she's playing lead against a Nollywood actor. He's a pretty new actor. I think his name is Chidi DK. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Yeah. So they're the ones carrying this movie like throughout. So the only reason why I decided to check this movie out was because I saw some people on social media, Facebook, saying that Cindy Imade was receiving some hits from these people because she did a sex scene, an explicit scene, and she was receiving quite some heat. And I really did not see what all the buzz was about because I saw that movie, and any body who's familiar with cinematography, and even someone who is completely blank with cinematography would definitely see that the scenes were not explicit. Okay, they weren't that explicit, and it doesn't take a genius to tell that was just a performance, because it wasn't really, because they weren't fully naked and whatever. So I don't get what all the buzz was about. And the funny thing with such situations is that it's always the actress, the woman, who gets all of the heat, and the man never gets any critics. I don't know why that is. Like think about it, okay? Whenever there is some sort of explicit scene in any movie, be it a Nigerian movie, Cameroonian movie, Hollywood movie, it's always the actress who gets all of the heat, but the males never. Why is that the situation? But anyway, that's not the discussion for today. Let's talk about A Kiss That Kills. Well, A Kiss That Kills is about this lady. I think her name is Rita in the movie. Yes, so she's a teacher and she's married to this man, and they seem to be unhappy in their marriage because the man seems to be unfaithful towards her, and he doesn't fulfill his duties as a husband. Like he starves his wife sexually, so he doesn't fulfill his sexual duties as a husband, and that pushes her to look for sex elsewhere. And this woman Rita, who happens to be a teacher, finds pleasure in one of her students. And students, and the student in question is played by Chidi DK. So she finds pleasure in him, and at a certain point she tries to cut off that relationship with her student because it's actually getting out of hand. And like, she's still married, though she has a lot of marital issues with her husband. Like, technically they are still married, they are still husband and wife. So she tries not to like break her vows any further than she has already. So she tries to cut off this student at a certain point, and he's persistent. He's like, no, he can't give up on her that easily because he really has feelings for her. And this woman, Rita, she decides to ask for a divorce from her husband, and her husband is very reluctant to sign the divorce papers. At a certain point, I actually felt like they were going to make up, like, because towards the end of the movie, he actually sincerely apologized to his wife for what he has put her through, and she apologized in turn. And like, they put themselves through a lot. The husband is hoping for them like to figure things out, but the wife is like, no, they're done. Even when they make peace, she's still strong. She's still strongly campaigning for a divorce, and that's that. And so the movie, first of all, begins with a dead body, Rita's dead body at the mortuary. Cindy Imade, her body, she died at the beginning of the movie. But then the police officer who is carrying out the investigations, I don't know who is narrating the story, but anyway, there's this police guy who's kind of like the detective on this case, and he interrogates the husband of the deceased and the lover of the deceased. Yeah, so throughout this movie, it's just, they're showing us how Rita goes to school, she teaches, and she meets her students. She falls for a student, and they have sexual relations. She has sexual intercourse with her student, and it's funny because anyway, I'll get back to that at the end of the movie. Yeah, and they have a thing going on, like I've already said. But at the end of the movie, like there is some sort of tension between the husband, Rita's husband, and her lover, her student lover, and they kind of meet, and they meet at the student's home, and they get into a fight, and it's almost a deadly fight. No, before that even, okay, yeah, Rita's husband's brother, so Rita's brother-in-law, spies on Rita while she's having an affair with her student, and so he discovers that she doesn't have an affair with another man. So he calls his brother and he's like, "Yo, your wife is seeing someone else," and he decides to break into into Rita's lover's home, and I think that's where he got killed. So Rita's lover is a murderer. So he's being portrayed to us as a murderer. So that already makes us feel like he is the prime suspect. Like since he is already a murderer because he has killed someone. So we just assume automatically that maybe he actually did kill Rita because Rita was trying to end their relationship. That's the impression we have throughout the movie. But towards the end of the movie, we do realize that Rita's murderer isn't her lover, and Rita's murderer isn't her husband. And so towards this scene, towards one of the last scenes of the movie, when Rita's husband and her lover are fighting, and her lover almost is at the point of killing her husband. That's when the police barges in, the detective barges in and kills Rita's lover. And so her husband wakes up and is like, "Thank you, detective, thank you. I don't know what I would have done if he didn't show up." And it's at that point when the detective actually reveals that he is the one who killed Rita. Apparently, the detective had a thing with Rita before she got married, and so when she dumped him, he was very pissed about it, and he didn't move on from that ever since. So he killed Rita. I don't know, maybe that was his own vengeance, and he killed Rita's lover, and he's almost at the point of killing her husband, and that's when the real police people now come in and arrest him. So the bad guy throughout this whole movie was a detective who was supposedly detecting whatever, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, before I get into my critiques for this movie, which is a YouTube production, and what I've noticed is that most YouTube productions, low budget productions, be it movies, be it series, most of them are on a very low budget, and from watching this movie you could tell. However, there are a few positive things I would like to say about this movie. I think Cindy Imade, she has really grown as an actress, because I saw a couple of years ago, I saw one of her movies. I think it was Different Kind of Men, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, when I look at her performance in that movie and her performance in this movie, there's been a lot of growth in her personality as an actress and everything. I think she has really matured as an actress, and I think she's actually on the right track to be like an international superstar. No questions asked. I think Chidi DK too is a good actor. He was very confident, and he said this, he didn't say his lines like he was reading them. He said them like he actually meant them. So I'd like to give my top performances go to Cindy Imade and Chidi DK. Yeah. However, I feel like the actor who plays Richard's husband, I feel like he's a new actor, because he isn't as, I don't say he's a bad actor, but I feel like he isn't as good as Cindy and Chidi. I feel like, yeah, maybe with a few more roles he's going to like perfect his craft, but I feel like he's still an amateur in as far as acting is concerned. I might be wrong, but however, I feel like he's not yet on that level of Cindy Imade and Chidi DK. Yeah, and I think the same too for the detective. I feel like they need to put in a lot of work, like in their acting skills. They're not bad, but they're just not as great as the others. And also, I said that I've noticed that most YouTube movies are low budget movies, and you could really tell when watching this movie because they had very few scenes where they very limited venues to shoot all of the scenes. Most of the scenes were either at school or in their apartments. Either at school or in their apartment. There was no other like major. Maybe there were a few scenes in this bar, in the snack bar. I think one scene, and yeah, I think that's it. Those were all the venues they used for the movie. They had very few venues, and then a few venues in the streets. So it was really I could really feel that they were working on a limited budget for this specific movie. I think that's why it's destined for YouTube because most big budget movies don't go to YouTube. At least not immediately. They go to theaters first, and from the theaters they go to other streaming services, be it YouTube, be it Prime Video, be it Netflix, whatever. But I feel like this movie specifically didn't have a very big budget, so they were really working on a tight budget, and that's why they had very few venues to shoot the movie scenes. Yeah, and also this school where Rita teaches, I couldn't actually tell if it was a secondary school or a university. If it was a secondary school, I feel like most of those students they're really, some of them look older than me. Like seriously, I don't know Chidi Dike, I don't know how old he is. I don't know if he is my age or younger or older. But however, he doesn't look like a secondary school student. No, let's be frank. And mind you, he didn't look like the oldest student in that class. There are guys who looked older than him in that class. At the same time, there were other people who looked very young, like real secondary school students. So I was actually confused on whether it was secondary school or high school or university, because to me it seems like secondary school because they were talking about African history. Was it slavery, slave trade, something of the sort? It was either slave trade or colonization, one of those famous topics in history. Yeah, so I feel like it was secondary school. However, those students don't look like secondary school students. But anyway, let's assume it was university. That campus definitely is not a university campus. Yeah, because let's say if it was secondary school, they are not in uniforms. Well, I don't know the world in Nigeria. I don't know how things go on in Nigeria, but I know that in Cameroon, all government schools or public schools, they have uniforms. But there they didn't have uniforms. So let's assume it's a university. Let's say, okay, the fact that I didn't have uniform, let's assume it's a university. That campus did not look like a university campus. It looked like a secondary school campus. First of all, it was small, and then there wasn't a lot of people on campus, so I really couldn't tell what kind of school that was. That was the biggest problem I had. That was the biggest red flag I had with this movie, that school campus. I felt like if it was going to be secondary school, then they could have made it look like a secondary school. They could have given the students uniforms. But if it's a university campus, then let it look like a university campus with a lot more people on campus, like a bigger campus, like what I'm saying. Okay, so that was my biggest. Those were the few critics I had for this movie. So if I'm to rate this movie on 10, I will give it a solid 6.59999. And the reason why I'm giving this movie 6.5, like if the actors were good, it's not even about the low budget or the limited venues or the school even in itself. I'm like grading it solely based off of acting performances. If Rita's husband and the detective performed better, I would have given this movie at least an 8. But given the fact that you could really tell that they don't really master the craft, and this is not me trying to be mean, I'm just giving like my own critique as a viewer. I feel like if they mastered the craft a little more, I would have given it like a 7 or an 8. But just for that fact, I feel like I'll give it a solid 6.5. Solid 6.5. And hey, it's an okay movie. It's definitely not a kind of movie I'll be watching several times, but I feel like I didn't waste my data and my time watching it because it was actually kind of entertaining. So that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed today's talk on A Kiss That Kills. Please, I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. Stay tuned for another episode of Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. See you next time. Peace.